It was way back in 2022 when these Amazon bedsheets, heart mirrors, bows and heart-shaped sunglasses fully took off. The aesthetic of Coquette was born, and with it came many sub-aesthetics, styles and genres. Welcome to a new multi-part series where I'm going to be breaking down every single aesthetic that comes under the umbrella term of Coquette. And today we are starting with the ever so traditional first aesthetic that first came into the scene, and that is classic Coquette. A few weeks ago, I filmed a video called How to be Coquette in 2022, or like it's 2022, and you guys absolutely loved reminiscing over the nostalgia of such an aesthetic. So this is basically going to be a much deeper analytical guide on how the aesthetic works and how to essentially be classic Coquette. Classic Coquette is identified in its main core themes. This aesthetic was a lot different than any of the other sub-aesthetics or genres that came under the umbrella term of Coquette. It was very pink, there were a lot of light colours, the style was very feminine and girly, and this is what differentiated it from all of the other styles at this time. It was basically the Coquette aesthetic in a whole. There are loads of different other aesthetics that also came under the umbrella term, but this was classic Coquette, and this is what started this whole long list of others. In 2022, classic Coquette was born, and in winter of 2023, Coquette was at its peak on TikTok with the bow trend. The bow trend consisted of people tying bows onto random and sometimes crazy objects, deeming it as Coquette and basically poking fun at the aesthetic, but it gained a lot of popularity. The aesthetic's roots are heavily entwined with Lana Del Rey, the colour pink, soft romantic themes and imagery. Classic Coquette though, or Coquette, is seen as kind of like the reigning hierarchy of the styles, and sort of under the many sub-styles that it comes under, it's the one on top. A lot of people are nostalgic and reminiscent on this particular aesthetic and feel that it should never change and always keep its roots. The classic Coquette aesthetic was one of the many communities on the internet that idealised the process of romanticising your life, with a lot of its audience wanting to primarily make their lives as beautiful and as romantic as possible. Now, I have already done so many videos talking about how to dress Coquette, so I really didn't want to do this today, but what I am going to do is just roll off some iconic pieces that you can always recognise when dressing in this style. Baby doll tops, long sleeve tops, camis, skirts, sweaters, dresses, jeans, shorts, cardigans, Mary Janes, ballet flats, socks and tights, and leg warmers were the rage. They were absolutely everywhere, and are basically the fundamental staple wardrobe pieces you need to start dressing Coquette. Classic Coquette was rooted in its pink, white, cream and red themes. To be a part of the classic Coquette aesthetic, you of course had to have a Coquette bedroom. Now, all of these bedrooms shared the same common themes: warm and dim lighting, floral bedspreads, vintage furniture, pillows, blankets, a vanity area, heart mirrors, wall collages, a bed canopy, candles, books, vintage mirrors, and perfume displays. The aesthetic of Coquette was different and brought something new to the table, and it was rooted in its activities and romanticised lifestyle. Listening to Lana Del Rey, creating a Coquette journal, creating Pinterest boards, watching Coquette movies, writing letters, baking, reading, painting and crafts, and going on picnics were seen as some of the most fundamental Coquette activities you could partake in. Some common themes in this aesthetic are lipstick stains, bows, baby pink, cream, white and red, long wide headphones, heart socks, Mary Janes and leg warmers, cute hairstyles, jewellery and accessories, Lana Del Rey, vintage movies, heart-shaped sunglasses, pearls, Rococo style furniture, Gilmore Girls, and lace, frills and ruffles. Alongside classic Coquette, you did have vintage Americana, but I see this as a completely separate style and aesthetic, and I can do a whole aesthetic deep dive onto it like I have done so with this aesthetic. This is an aesthetic that I will always be a part of. My roots are here, it's what I love making content about, and even though my style is not strictly catered to this aesthetic only now, It's an art style and form of expression that I will always come back to whenever I create or need inspiration for something. So thank you so much for watching this aesthetic deep dive on the classic Coquette or Coquette aesthetic, and please comment any other Coquette styles you want me to do deep dives on and guides on. I already have a few lined up, but I want to hear from you guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching or listening. I really hope this video was informative and helped and gave you an insight into the Coquette, classic Coquette aesthetic.